Hey everyone, my name is Paul Vojchehoske and welcome to the Real Estate Classroom YouTube channel where my mission is simple and that's to help you pass your real estate exam the first time. In today's real estate exam prep video, I want to talk about what's called adverse possession by tacking, or sometimes known as adverse possession by contract. That's the AKA for by tacking. Now, if you have not watched the video where I talk about adverse possession and I walk you step by step through not only what adverse possession is, but the process to it, you have to watch that video first or this video will not make sense. And I'm going to leave a link right up here in the upper right-hand corner to that video. So go to that video, watch it, then come back to this one. Otherwise, you won't know what I'm talking about here. So what is adverse possession by tacking? Well, first of all, on your screen, let's say one of the essential elements of adverse possession is the adverse possessor must occupy that property or that parcel of land for the statutory period of time that's determined by state statute. So in my example in today's video, it's going to be a 10-year period. So on your screen, we have that 10-year statutory period of time. All right. Now that is the first part of it. So let's say Tom is our adverse possessor, and Tom occupies the property and he has started that 10-year period. And I'm not going to go into all the other essential elements. Hopefully you've watched that other video. So Tom has occupied the property for 3 years, and Tom says, I got to go back to my home state. My mom's sick, whatever the case may be. But over the past 3 years, Tom, as the adverse possessor, has gained certain legal rights in that parcel of land. All right. He has a legal interest as the adverse possessor. So Tom can assign, he can sell, give away, or assign his interest to somebody else. And that's why sometimes it's called adverse possession by contract, because what happens is Tom finds a fellow adverse possessor. Her name is Sally, and Sally pays Tom, let's say $1,000 for Tom's 3 years of legal interest that he has gained in this parcel of land. All right, so Tom and Sally sign a contract. Sally gives Tom the consideration of $1,000, and then Tom assigns his legal interest that he has acquired over the past 3 years in this property to Sally. So now Sally has not only Tom's 3-year period, but also her own that she is now starting to accumulate. What Sally has done is tacked Tom's 3 years onto hers. That's why it's called adverse possession by tacking. So let's say after, I don't know, 3 years, Sally has a situation where she has to move. Now, between Tom's 3 years that Sally owns and Sally's own 3 years of legal interest, remember, Sally owns not only Tom's 3 years as an adverse possessor and all of his interests, but she also has accumulated 3 years of her own legal interest. She now has a total of 6 years of interest as the adverse possessor between Tom and herself. Well, she then turns around and finds Harry and sells her 6 years of interest, which includes her own plus Tom's, to Harry. All right, so Harry occupies that property as required by law, fulfilling all the essential elements of an adverse possessor that's required for adverse possession. So Harry remains there for 4 years. Now, between Tom's 3 years, Sally's 3 years, and Harry's 4 years, we now have a total of 10 years, which is the state's statutory period of time for someone to make a claim of title under adverse possession. All right, so Tom is the adverse possessor once he hits that 10 years, and he has fulfilled all the essential elements of adverse possession. Now let's go back a little bit. We are assuming here for the purposes of this video and the lesson at hand, Tom in his 3 years fulfilled all the essential elements of adverse possession. We assume that Sally has also fulfilled all the essential elements of adverse possession and that Harry has fulfilled all the essential elements of adverse possession. So when Tom hits that 10-year mark, he's going to file what's called quiet title action in court. A judge is going to make the determination of whether or not all the essential elements were met. And when Harry files that quiet title action, he is declaring what's called color of title. Color of title means that it looked like to the general public, to the average person, it looked like that I was the owner. I acted like I was the owner. I did everything that an owner would do, paying the property taxes and maintaining the property and mowing the lawn, etc. But in reality, I was not the actual owner. So he declares color of title, files what's called quiet title action, and then the judge makes the determination. And if the judge feels that all the essential elements were met and all the statutory provisions were met, then Harry will obtain title via the court by a doctrine of adverse possession. Now, don't forget, if you have not watched the video on adverse possession where I go into a deep discussion of what it is, click the square right here, click the video right here. If you have not subscribed, click the little circle to my left, comments and questions down below. See you all in the next video.